Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Rivero. Welcome back to CBSN. The threat of the coronavirus is hanging over Super Bowl 55 as the Kansas City Chiefs and Tampa Bay Buccaneers get set for the big game. The Chiefs have placed 2 players on the COVID-19 reserve list due to close contact with a barber who was infected. Wide receiver Demarcus Robinson and center Daniel Kilgore have both tested negative so far and still have a chance of playing on Sunday. However, neither player can practice until the weekend. ESPN reports as many as 20 Chiefs players and staffers, including star quarterback Patrick Mahomes, had been scheduled to get a haircut with that barber prior to his test results coming in. Several NFL teams had to cancel or postpone games in the 2020 season due to outbreaks. However, NFL Players Association President DeMaurice Smith says he does not see any scenario in which the union would agree to move the Super Bowl for COVID-19 reasons. That could lead to an advantage for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if this outbreak on the Chiefs worsens. Troy Vincent is the Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the National Football League. He played 14 years in the league, earning 5 Pro Bowl berths and winning the 2002 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award. And he joins me now from Tampa, Florida, site of Super Bowl 55. Troy, welcome. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to the game. These 4 days can't come fast enough.
You and a lot of Americans. What is the league doing to keep players and coaches safe from COVID-19 this week so both teams can be as close to full capacity as possible on Sunday?
Well, the one thing that changed from previous years is the visiting team. Well, you only have one visiting team. We've never had a home team host the Super Bowl in their home city, but the Chiefs are actually practicing and staying at home until Saturday. And the protocols that we've seen throughout the duration of the season has worked. Virtual meetings, only come to the facility and practice on the field, go back to virtual meetings, proper spacing, proper PPEs inside the building. Those protocols has allowed us to complete 256 regular season games in 17 weeks. And now we're here at the biggest stage. So we're hoping that the players, coaches all remain vigilant these next 4 days so that we can kick that ball off Sunday night.
It's an amazing feat. What have been the biggest challenges in coordinating this year's Super Bowl, a Super Bowl literally unlike any other?
Well, the uncertainty. You don't have people. We're limited staff here. Now, one thing that has helped is that you don't have teams in. You don't have the crowds. Field preparation has gone over extremely well. The weather has been, at least to date, oh, thank you, Lord. It has been phenomenal, even though it's been a little brisky. But the preparation has been normal. We're excited about where we are. The COVID protocols, I must say the mayor, city officials have just been outstanding. We have been more vigilant around safety protocols for the general public than ever before. Our number one priority is not only to get the game kicked off, but make sure that the fans and the people that are watching, whatever venue you are, that you're practicing good social distancing, and you got to keep wearing your PPEs.
Absolutely. I want to pivot a little bit, Troy, and talk about diversity in the NFL. Last May, you called the hiring system broken. Only one black coach, David Culley, now of the Texans, was hired to lead a team. But there are a lot of high-profile candidates this year who didn't get head coaching gigs. The Chiefs' Eric Bieniemy, the Bills' Leslie Frazier, whom you personally vouched for, and the Buccaneers' Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich. This week, Bucs head coach Bruce Arians expressed his frustration that Leftwich didn't even get an interview. Let's listen to that.
I was a little really upset that Byron didn't get one because I think he's everything that everybody's supposedly looking for. You know, a quarterback, a play caller, and he's African American. So, I mean, I don't know what else you're looking for. He's a great leader. I think that, I'm throwing Keith Armstrong in the mix too. I think all those guys should be getting interviews for head coaching jobs, and hopefully next year.
The league office has gone out of its way to make incentives for teams to make diverse hires, but it doesn't seem to be working out all that often. What more can the NFL do to convince owners to consider high-profile Black candidates?
Well, I would start with not happy with the results that we've seen this particular hiring cycle for head coaches, but the overall totality of our diversity, equity, inclusion efforts, we saw there was clear progress. We look at 3 new general managers that have been hired. Anthony Lynn, offensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator. We have some special team coordinator roles. We have our first team president. We still have a lot of work to do. And I must, to generalize the statement, we've heard many say that the owners aren't committed. Well, the principal owners have been driving. There's others that we got to pull along and bring along with us, but we're more committed. I'm very optimistic personally, working with the commissioner, Chairman Rooney, around our practices, and Deja Smith, our chief people's officer. Our 7-point mobility plan that we put in place a year ago, we'll have an opportunity as this hiring cycle concludes here in the next week or so to assess, to analyze, and to listen of the why. Why wasn't Eric Bieniemy? And hear from those who interviewed Coach Bieniemy, why it wasn't. Those clubs that interviewed Leslie Frazier, what happened? And also ask those prospects, what did they take away from that interview experience? But we got some work to do on the head coaching side. We've seen some increases on our gender side. So the totality of our efforts, there was clear progress that demonstrates we got better, but we got a lot of work to do.
So I wonder what you think about, the views of Doug Williams, the first Black quarterback to play in a Super Bowl. He spoke with USA Today about this very topic, and he said both you and Commissioner Goodell have your hands tied, saying, quote, "This is on the owners. There are some that apparently still have a difficult time getting past the skin color of a candidate. They are 32 entities, and not all of them have open minds." So what's your reaction to his view?
Doug's a personal friend, mentor. I remain optimistic and hopeful. Why? Because I have an opportunity to work with the principal owners on a daily basis. Our fight is internal, external, and within the family. So each of us play a role. Together we get it done. We got to continue to educate. We got to continue to identify and network with the talent. We got work to do, but we remain optimistic just based off of some of the progress that was made in the plan that was put together a year ago. But to Doug, Shaq Harris, Jimmy Ray, there are many. Doug is speaking through pain and experience, and we got work to do, but we're going to get it done together.
Right. And of course, speaking of that work, the NFL's response to the surge in the Black Lives Matter last summer did include an apology to Colin Kaepernick for how he was treated during his peaceful protests, against systemic racism. But a lot of people are still unhappy with how things turned out for Kaepernick. He still does not have a job in football all these years later. He was certainly a talented player. Can the NFL fully atone for its mistakes with Kaepernick? Are there ways to bring him back in, whether, an on-the-field job or working with the league to address these issues? I mean, shouldn't he be brought back into the fold somehow?
Happy to work with him. I personally have reached out to him throughout the years to make sure that he's included on our efforts. Colin led the efforts. I guess that was back in 2 or 3 years ago. I don't want 16 or 17, but Colin, Eric Reed, Anquan Bolden, many of these young athletes during that time, they were out front, and their message, their efforts got distorted. It was robbed. It was politically charged, and we're at a different place today. But we commend Colin, Anquan, Malcolm Jenkins. There were so many, Kenny Stills, Eric Reed. These individuals were stellar in their efforts. Ongoing efforts. We support the players. We continue to. As a former player myself, the peer-to-peer relationship is critical. Again, I've reached out to Colin and others to make sure that we have an inclusive process on what our efforts should be and how we go about getting it done together.
All right, Troy, finally, your predictions on Sunday's game?
No predictions. I just want to kick off. I want a good game. I'm looking forward to the Confederate coming down so that I can pack up my bags and say, thank you, and thank you. No predictions.
Very diplomatic answer. All right. Well, Troy Vincent, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks for having me. You all take care and enjoy Super Bowl 55.
And you can watch Super Bowl 55 live this Sunday on CBS. You can also stream it on CBS All Access, CBSSports.com, and the CBS Sports app.